The next part of the day is something that people are waiting for, some people are nervous for, and it's a really exciting moment. It's one that I participated in a few years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It's the competition. To actually Emcee for the competition, we have Alex Roizen, who not only has a family relation to Bambi, but also has started 2 companies. He's based in San Diego and in San Francisco. He's an advisor for digital media, e-commerce, technology, and his favorite quote, I'll read just the first part of it, is very relevant to Vator, and that is, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the ones that you did. So throw off the bow lines and sail away from safe harbor. Please give a warm round of applause for the Emcee for the Vator Splash competition, Vator Splash LA, Alex Roizen.
Thank you. Hello, Vator Splash LA. You guys ready to get started? Yeah. All right. So we have, I'll give a quick background for those of you who haven't been to Splash. I know Mitch touched on it, but this is the 5th year, 4th in LA, 5th overall. LA is always my personal favorite. We have 150 companies that have come across this stage over the last 5 years. Those companies have raised a total of $400 million in follow-on capital. So pretty successful companies. Vator was an early stage VC. They'd be pretty successful. So not easy to get up here. Roughly 200 different companies are on the Vator platform applying quarterly to get up here. So what you're going to see here today is the top 10. So the cream of the crop, and the crop is pretty big. So we'll start by introducing the judges. We've got a panel of judges here, and we're going to give a 3-minute pitch and then 5 minutes for Q&A, back and forth between the judges, so they get to grill them. All right, let's get started. First judge is, easy as, Alex Gurevich, Javelin Venture Partners. Come on, Alex. So Alex is a long-standing speaker host, and he also you guys led Thumbtack, yeah. Series A. Yeah, they were the original Vator Splash winners, as Bambi mentioned. Next is Scott Painter, founder and CEO of TrueCar. You guys went public this year, $1 billion market cap or something. Also, thanks for lunch. They're our lunch sponsor, so thanks, Scott. Or if you have any complaints, see Scott. Okay, Ezra Roizen, Ackrell Capital. Got a good handle on the media space as anyone in here, and he's also most notable achievement was probably hiring me.
That's right.
I think. Okay.
No relation.
No relation. Robert Kornegay, Wilson Sonsini. He's our title sponsor for the last 2 years in LA. Thanks, Robert. And Ethan Applen, Warner Brothers Media Camp. All right, so you guys ready to get started? Run over here. Good, okay. We're going to start with our first finalist is Console OS. Chris, CEO, is going to be presenting. Chris, come on up.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm here today to talk about ConsoleOS.com, Android remastered for the PC. Let's see if this clicker will work. Yeah, it does. Cool. Okay. Well, there's been a lot of talk about how the PC business is doing, how PCs are selling, and the truth is, in the long run, the PC industry is doing great. Year over year, by 2020, PC use worldwide is expected to double. But in the short term, there's some issues. And there's one big issue that really stands out, and that is survey after survey shows people really don't like Windows 8. The hardware is improving. There's new device types, 2-in-1s, PC tablets, Ultrabooks. People love the idea of using their PC both as a laptop and as a tablet with the 2-in-1. But they lack the software innovation to really bring those sales right now. So we said, let's take Android, something with 1 million+ apps, and reinvent it for the PC. Next slide. Okay. So what we're doing is we're building an Android OS fork and distribution. We're targeting these new device types while also building support for garden variety laptops and desktops. We're keeping that touch-friendly experience, but also making it touch optional. We're being consumer-friendly. We'll import your Google Play apps, but we're working with Amazon and others. We have our own app store, the console store. We're targeting dual boot. We know people aren't going to quit Windows in a day cold turkey, especially in the US and EU. So we're making it so that you can quickly and easily toggle between native Android and native Windows, while in the rest of the world, scaling up to be a primary OS that's free to download. Can we go? Okay. So what we're doing is we're adding things that people like. People like the start menu. They like that stuff. They want to see it in Android, but keeping the Android UX true to form. The thing I really like to talk about most, though, is the performance. We're giving game developers the ability to scale their games and apps up and deliver, there we go, up to 12 times the power of Google's fastest tablet without having to rewrite their game engine code. I really encourage you to come check out our demo table and ask us to pull up some of these torture tests. How are we going to make money? Well, we're going to distribute it. We're going to distribute it with PC OEMs, in-app purchases. There's a lot of revenue streams here, in addition to the traditional lines of business, advertising, in-app, messaging, payments, all that. The press, I really encourage you to go to consoleos.com to check out our press quotes. The press loves us because we're doing what users want. Users want Android on the PC, and they want it to work really well. We've got a great team of 6 core members and army of contractors, but the people I love to talk about most are our Kickstarter backers. I'm out of time, but head on to consoleos.com, sign up. It's going to be available for more than just our backers early next year. Thanks, everyone.
All right, great. All right, let's get started here. So let's we're gonna have the judges run through their questions. We'll go from left to right, and then you can go. You have 5 minutes to answer.
Sure.
Please.
Sure. So I guess my first question is sort of barriers to entry in this space. I mean, if you launch this and let's say you get out there and you start to get OEMs to install your OS, what's to prevent, and you have success, what's to prevent Google from doing the exact same thing and getting in there? And obviously they've got some market size there.
Okay. You actually asked my question, but I've got one other one, which is you seem to be focused principally on consumer markets, and there's obviously in the enterprise market with respect to PCs, there is Microsoft is very much entrenched. Is there a reason that you focused on that, and how do you overcome the issues that you would have in that entrenchment in the enterprise market?
I thought Bill Gross said that the next big entrepreneur wasn't going to be doing an OS, but we'll scratch that part from his speech. My question would be the killer app. You said gaming. Do you want to boil the ocean and do everything, or do you say, look, we're going to go after and the Android OS for this thing, we can solve this problem, kill it, and then expand out?
So I guess I would be much more curious about the size of the market and sort of how you plan to penetrate that market and make a quick argument for that.
I guess piggybacking off of the Google question, because that's the biggest one in my mind as well. What do you want to do with this company? Is this something that you build up to a certain point and you think that Google potentially wants to acquire, or do you think there's a path forward where you can be a huge standalone company?
All right, well, thanks for all those questions. I guess I'll start with the big elephant in the room, Google. We really are trying to be the Kindle Fire of the PC ecosystem. Google has said very clearly that they have these 2 platforms, Android and Chrome OS, and that they're not going to merge them. They're going to let some Android apps run on Chrome OS. I think as people have started to dive deep in that. They've really found that the only way to run high-performance Android apps well is in native Android, and that's something Google's finding out themselves internally. I will tell you that we think that as you go above the netbook and the net top market, that people want to use Android, especially our rendition of Android, as we scale it up to do high-performance gaming. We have our sights set not on Ouya and the micro consoles, but on Xbox and PlayStation, and creating an experience where the PC really is fun to use again and can do high-performance gaming, both with the discrete class graphics and also the integrated graphics. You know, when you line up Intel Core laptops today, they don't have really powerful graphics, but when you put Android games on them, they come to life. So I think in terms of barriers to entry, we are going to offer a free download. We're going to make it free for users to bypass the gatekeepers and just burn it to a flash drive, install it, and dual boot. They don't have to remove Windows. They don't have to repartition. We make all that easy, and we make it easy to toggle back and forth between Windows and Android through console OS. In terms of business, you know, we're really following how iOS and Android rose to power. They rose to power through the users, getting consumers to like their products, and then winning over the enterprise. You know, Windows, you have to pay to encrypt to get that really BitLocker grade encryption. Console OS, we're going to follow Android's lead and offer free encryption out of the box. So we're definitely playing to a security mindset, and those line of business apps will run across phone, tablet, and now PC without enterprise developers having to rewrite their apps. And they'll be able to do it securely. That's really important to us. In terms of expansion, you know, I think we really have our sights set on the consumer electronics device family. We want to stay influential in hardware. We're not looking to just get bought out by Google. Other than that, I think in terms of growth, you're going to see us really step into that high-performance market. And we've already started talking about having a discrete class gaming console that takes Android to the next level and competes head-on with Xbox and PlayStation. I've got like 10 seconds left, so I'll just say thanks again for all those questions, and thanks everyone. I really encourage you to check out our demos at our booth right outside those doors. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Chris. Chris, come on this way. Corey's going to get you some bread and butter wine and a backpack. Oh, you got your backpack? Okay. All right, great. Remember, you guys can follow along these companies on Vator.co. It should be up here, but maybe not. / company name. And we're going to have the People's Choice Award from between 12:30 and 12:50. Y'all get to vote as well. So keep in mind, pay attention, see who you like the most. All right, next company. Unu, Adam. Adam. Thought you were the help.
So again, my name is Adam Greenberg, CEO and co-founder.
Adam.
And we set out and we have built the best lighting and control systems to grow plants in the world. Next slide, please. We address 3 fundamental pain points. Again, the uncontrollable environment, high electrical costs, which we know far too well in California. And third, all of our competitors have a terrible spectrum for growing plants. Next, please. Introducing the Unu Dual Plasma. This light is the best light in the world for growing plants. We've worked with NASA engineers to develop a proprietary optics to create even spread over the entire canopy of plants. This, combined with our proprietary spectrum, which is optimal for photosynthesis, creates the best light, which is the Unu Dual Plasma. Next slide, please. So, many of us don't know this today, but 50% of our produce cost comes from transportation. And 50% of the produce that is transported today is spoiled or gone rotten. This, combined with an indoor growing market that quite honestly is highly inefficient, this is where Unu comes in and plays and solves all these problems. We have the ability to not only make hyper-local farming economical, but we have the ability to give people fresh, better tasting, higher nutrient produce right in their own backyards. Next slide, please. Our company and our market is growing rapidly. We are backordered and in very high demand. This is why we're raising money. Next slide, please. And today we'd like to announce that we have Microsoft now as a customer. What? So Microsoft is now growing their produce for their cafeterias on site. This is important for their most important asset, their employees. They're not only saving money, but they're also saving the transport costs. They're saving the fact that they have higher quality, better tasting produce. Who knew lettuce had a smell and a taste? Because I sure didn't. And so from there, you can see on the bottom, we have some of the best growers in the nation for growing anything. And these are the people, the gurus of the industry that we targeted, that we can now proudly call customers. Next slide, please. These are some of the drivers of demand. We ultimately have multiple drivers of demand, whether it's India or the government subsidies, or whether we're talking about corporate cafeterias or high-quality restaurants, because this brings patrons into restaurants, as well as in our own home. Imagine a home with 2 refrigerators, one to store food and one to grow food. Next slide, please. Back to the team. And we have an amazing team. We have world-class engineers from the software and hardware side. Plus, I'm out of time, so thanks, guys.
You ended where you started off to begin with.
Thanks for understanding.
Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll go, since we're doing everything backwards, we'll go right to left. So start.
You made tremendous progress. It's the first time I heard you pitch, so it was great.
I had a lot of practice in between.
I guess my biggest question is I'd like to understand more about what the typical customer here looks like. I admittedly don't know much about the indoor farming market, but are there like actual indoor food manufacturers, and how many of them are there? How big is that market in general?
Yeah, I think it would be great to get into the economics of it and how somebody who's making the investment recovers that. It would seem to me, while maybe not seemingly popular at a high level, just to focus on the legal cannabis production, sort of a weed store and a kit. But there's an economic model around that, right, in terms of how that all works that could, I think, ultimately underpin the financial argument for it. So there needs to be a little bit more meat on the bone in terms of sort of the numbers behind it.
Yeah, and I agree. I think this has got to get stickered up with like deadhead stickers and stuff on it. But the skateboarding, because I don't know how many people or companies really want to be independent farms. So I think that's great. The Microsoft thing is awesome, but there has to be sort of like a killer market. But
If Microsoft were growing weed, though,
if it was just done.
that would be the killer app.
Replacement for Windows. Anyway, look, but it would like crash you all the time and give you a really bad high.
It'd come with the computer.
All right, back on track. So but I think the main point is for me would be distribution and how you're going to build these things. How are you going to, you're now getting into a pretty substantial cost of goods sold, inventory. This is an expensive business to operate. So is this a capital efficient business? Is this the minimum viable product? Can you just sell the bulbs or something?
I know enough about the lighting market to be dangerous just based on some prior relationships. But and building on that question, when you're looking at the larger market and the competitive landscape, you're going into a market where you've got companies like Philips with very broad IP portfolios that they're willing to use against companies. You're also going into a market where branding is important, where there's a lot of margin and pricing pressure. So how have you thought about that in terms of how you're going to make this into a large, substantial company?
I think it's very cool. I was actually just reading articles about this like a week or two ago about vertical farming and the move to that in urban centers and stuff. So really interesting market. That said, I have a ton of questions, but the one I'll ask is, I'm curious what your price point you're looking at, and what's your real differentiator between, to the point you're talking about like Philips and things like that. Because I know you said it really quickly that they don't do the same quality of light, but how do you sell this over a Philips grow kit or whoever the other grow kit might be?
Awesome, great questions. In honor of going reverse, I'm going to go reverse back. So What we are doing is we're actually going to gigantic grows with which huge lighting systems. Lots of commercial grows exist today. Most tomatoes sold at Costco that you guys buy are grown hydroponically. They're actually, we don't know this, but there are actually tons of huge farms out there. And there are also large companies like Driscoll's, Phillips. GE is getting into growing lettuce in gigantic warehouses. So we actually reduce OPEX costs, which is the most important cost to farmers, by 60 to 70%. So that's why for most people it's been a no-brainer to get in, as well as we offer financing, because we do understand that this is a very high-quality product, and it's made in the USA. Our bulbs are made here in California. We're manufacturing up at Boeing's facilities up in Seattle, and that's how we're able to create a high-quality, everyone still loves the Made in America, plus the low OPEX cost that really gets us through for the long term. Going on from there, IP, we have 55 claims of IP pending right now. We have a license from the NASA engineer for the proprietary optics. No one can make a non-supplemental plasma light. This is 30% more energy efficient than an LED. Most people think LEDs are the most energy efficient light source. That is untrue. And this is also far brighter. This actually has, as you can see here, 2 tiny point sources. Those by themselves give off 50,000 lumens. And we're happy to say that we've protected ourselves very well against people like Philips with the external counsel of IP for Amazon, Microsoft, and T-Mobile behind us. From there, scaling. Scaling, we are looking at not just commercial, but we're also looking at everyone wants to hire the best employees, best software developers, and actually Microsoft views this as a competitive advantage to get people in the door, because now they're going to start growing the tomatoes, the lettuce, and everyone can see where it's grown, and they're putting these in their office spaces, in these tiny little plexiglass office spaces, so you can see these things growing, and people can go pick and taste a high lycopene tomato. This is the best tasting stuff you've ever had. And then finally, distribution and expensive business to operate. I understand it's hardware. This is my second hardware business. I understand the cash flow. I understand AR terms. And this is something that we're very focused on. And that's why we're raising around, is to keep up with demand and keep our AR going.
Cool. Good work. All right. Eric. Good job, bud. You can go down this way and go get your...
All right, welcome to the world of NABDAT. The modern consumer is here to stay. With millennials, new generations of shoppers, they're having a bigger influence in the way products are being purchased, right? And they're looking for an experience. They're not looking for information. And they're looking for an experience that is tailored to them, the individual. Right now, I can go on Uber, get a car to take me from point A to point B. I can go to Amazon, order a TV to be delivered to my home the following day. Unfortunately, this experience that consumers are looking for hasn't been delivered in the car market. 1 out of 5 Americans say they'd rather give up sex for a month than haggle for a new car. 9 out of 10 say that the car shopping should be made easier. What we've done is we built a platform to bring this experience to the consumer, an experience that is seamless and efficient. Through 3 easy steps, the consumer can come online, pick a car, put in the terms of the deal, and anonymously send that out to the dealerships in our network. Dealerships can respond by accepting or countering the offer. There's no back and forth. So in reality, a consumer can get up in the morning, cup of coffee, go onto our platform, put in an offer for a vehicle, and then continue throughout their day, right? Going to a football game, taking the kids to a park, going shopping, etc. Come home, look over the offers, and pick the one that is best for them. Voila. And we have a ton of validation. Consumers who have used our platform love the experience that we provide. Again, the key is the experience. Here are a couple examples from some of our consumers. One says that they wish there was a NABDAT for everything. Another one says she'll never buy a car another way. And this is why consumers love us. They love us because they remain anonymous through their car shopping, right? The price is guaranteed to be the best. And additionally, there's no negotiation, it's 100% free. But not only do consumers love us, but dealerships do too. We don't charge a commission, we're a product-based company. We reduce their overhead and there's no brand evaluation. We're growing tremendously fast. For the 4 months that the company has been active, we have over 140 dealerships in the Orange County and Los Angeles County alone. We have a B2B product that we launched last week to over 35 dealerships in the United States. We're averaging 1 car sold per day, and with those consumers, we're able to upsell to 40% of them car insurance. I want to thank you for your time. Power to you, powered by us. We are NABThat. Thank you.
Making up lost time. Getting on this. Yeah. All right, let's start with Ethan.
Have you done any research into where people come in on their offers here? I mean, obviously you're saying, you've got a lot of different stakeholders you have to please here, whether that's the consumer, the dealer, the manufacturer. Are people coming in with offers that are, I want that car for $2? Are they coming in at real high so the dealers are still getting their margins? Where's that sort of netting out?
And my question would be, what sort of competitive barriers are there for someone else coming in and being able to do this? Is it mostly a branding thing? Is it based on your relationships with the dealerships that you can create? What's going to, again, prevent somebody else from being able to compete effectively?
I guess my thought would be, where does this fit in terms of how you acquire a substantial amount of customers, and how do you ensure that there's a great service to them? It seems like you could have a lot of, on the front end, the customers on the back end, a lot of wasted time because people submit ridiculous offers to dealers. There's like no.
I now get why I'm on the panel. Well, we need to talk. So what's the business model?
I should donate my question to Scott over here, but I guess big one in my mind is what's the repeatable process for signing up more dealerships? Have you nailed that? Obviously good progress so far, but how do you scale it up across the country?
Okay, so I'll just go through it as you guys had. So garbage offers, right? We actually have filters that dealerships can utilize within their dashboard, so they can literally control the offers that are coming through. So any garbage that does come through, it actually falls out, and the dealership will never see it. Okay, coming back to the competitive advantage we have, we built this platform for about 8 months. We have a non-provisional patent that we filed over a year ago. So we are taking the steps to secure the IP that we have and that what we built. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, so consumer acquisition. So there's a couple of things. One, we have the car buyer, right, is one customer, and the other customer is the dealership. So what we've done is we've done, two things. With consumer acquisition, we've done a lot of guerrilla marketing, organic growing, right? So going to events, talking to consumers, bloggers, going to new mother events, all of these things that we consider life events where people are moving out of a car, right? Getting married, new baby, family expansion, etc. I would say about 40% of our customers are actually referrals from other consumers who have utilized our service. So that's a tremendous thing for us. Our business model. So for the consumer, it's completely free. Dealerships pay a monthly subscription, and it's just a product base. So we have multiple products that dealerships can utilize with regard to our platform. And I can go in more detail. We have a booth here, so stop by and we can talk about it. And what was the last question? I'm sorry.
How do you scale up the dealerships across the country? How do you?
Okay, so for the consumer interfacing, we're only targeting the LA and Orange County area, right? To go national is a tremendous amount of work, right? And to be able to do marketing across the board takes a ton of money, right? Consumer acquisition on the digital side for a new vehicle is what, $120. So we're just concentrating on the LA and Orange County market. That is it. Now, what we're doing with our B2B products allows us to go out there nationally. So we have dealerships in New York, in Pennsylvania, Virginia, who are utilizing our B2B products within their dealership website. Okay, so I hope I answered all the questions. Are there any more that I can do? I have a minute.
Sure, you got some time left. So how much does it cost to acquire a customer, and how much do you monetize that customer for on a per customer basis?
Okay, so for us, we're looking at a consumer acquisition of around $25 to $28 right now.
And how do you do that?
How do we do that?
Yeah.
Again, it's guerrilla marketing. It's going out there, speaking to customers. Again, a majority of our customer base is actually a referral. So these are people that are spreading the word, telling their friends and family about it, using social media. Google is a great way to get out there, but it's a very expensive way. So if you can utilize social media, Twitter, Facebook, et cetera,
Sure.
you can keep your costs
So
down.
if the dealerships, though, are seeing customers, how many customers do they need to see to pay for the subscription? How large is the average subscription?
Okay, so we have, again, it depends on the product, right? So for a dealership to utilize our platform, they have a 6-month free trial period. What we're seeing is about a 60% retention rate out of that into our paid. And the paid is a $500 flat monthly fee. And
How many sales do they expect out of that?
Well, it depends on the dealership. So right now we're averaging 1 car per day. Our dealerships know that we're a startup, we're growing. So all the progressive dealerships who are part. Yep. Thank you.
At a time.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you, Jason. Hey, this is great. Corey's going to get you back in the line. Great. You guys had a lot to talk about, huh?
You should find him later.
Yeah. All right, next up, Upside. Tom, co-founder and CEO, come on up. You want to be in the light?
Yeah, I'm gonna risk it and give this a shot.
Okay.
I'm gonna risk it with this, but if it starts screwing up, I'm gonna start going to the finger up move.
It's got a delay, remember, so.
Yeah, cool. Oh, my time's going already. So my name is Tom Kimberly. I'm co-founder and CEO of Upside. I'm joined here today by Junie Hom, my fellow co-founder and president as well. So Upside in 7 words. Upside is Wealthfront for independent investment advisors. And what that means is that we've developed a fully automated, white-labeled managed account platform that's designed to help investment advisors manage emerging affluent clients cost-effectively and meet the expectations of the next generation of investor. So why Wealthfront for investment advisors rather than just Wealthfront? Well, one reason is timing. The other is we think it's better to break even on acquisition costs in 2 weeks rather than 4 years. So if you take a look at an average robo-advisor, they're paying $500 per client. They're managing $50,000 for that client. With a 25 basis point fee, they're earning $125 a year, and their average time to break even is about 4 years, which kind of sucks. At Upside, we're paying about $1,000 to acquire an investment advisor. We're targeting to manage $10 million per advisor we bring on the platform, generating $25,000 of revenue per year and breaking even in 2 weeks, which doesn't suck. We've also had a lot of conversations with investment advisors, over 200 conversations. We've learned that our technology platform solves 3 main pain points. The first is I have to turn away clients even though I know that they're going to be worth a lot in 5 or 10 years, but they don't have enough money today. The second is I'm managing clients whose assets are too low to be profitable today already. And the third, and this gets back to the timing comment, is I'm concerned about competing with robo-advisors for the next generation of investors. And Upside solves all of those 3 pain points. And the way that we do it is by serving as a sub-advisor through our white-labeled digital advisor platform, where for the advisor, we work together at their custodian. We use our technology to manage the accounts, and the advisor owns the client relationship and has the ability to provide behavioral support for those clients. So they're doing what they like, and we're doing the administrative and operational work. For the client, they're getting a fully automated, design-led user experience, all under the advisor's firm name and logo, and they're also getting the support from the advisor. The market's quite large, about 30,000 firms with $4 trillion in assets currently. Across the 4 big custodial firms, there are about half of the independent advisory firms, so about 15,000 of them managing $2.3 trillion. We're already at TD Ameritrade. We're in the final steps of getting onto the Schwab and Fidelity platforms, with Pershing coming after that. Within an advisor's book, more than half of the book is addressable for our technology. So in other words, they're emerging affluent clients with less than $1 million in assets. In 14 weeks of marketing, we've generated 300 leads with acquisition costs of about $1,000. We've got 16 RIAs signed up and ready to go. We announced a launch with Ritholtz Wealth Management this week, a big firm based out of New York. They have, between the 2 of the managers of the firm, have 140,000 Twitter followers and 2 of the most popular blogs in the area. Very quickly on fees, we charge $2,500 implementation fee, and then between 10 and 25 basis points depending on assets being managed.
Woo! All right, let's start with Alex.
So I would imagine that a lot of these, advisory companies that you're talking to, they already have a lot of sophisticated tools in-house for their advisors. So I'm wondering, when you talk to them, like what kind of products are you competing with? Is it a lot of homegrown type solutions? Are there other vendors out there? And what's your pitch to them essentially in order to dislodge?
Yeah, I'd ask the same thing. Is this market already there? Are there other companies that are effectively charging and competing in this space, and how are they doing? What's their size? What are their price points? How does that work?
I think similarly, are you going to go after sort of the big established advisors, or are you going to try and do sort of land and expand with a lot of small advisors? My guess is that there's sort of benefits to both, but they're actually quite different, and there's quite a spread of which group is going to be most attracted to the solution.
My question's more with respect to how the product actually functions. So when you're dealing with an advisor trying to build a pipeline, and I understand the problem, and I think it's a real problem, how do you keep sort of the personal touch so that the consumers who are basically moved over to this platform still feel like they have a personal relationship with their advisor, which is probably why they went to them to begin with?
I mean, I'm curious here, you're sort of, the problem that you're setting up is that you've got these robo-advisors and a sort of direct-to-consumer platform on one side with sort of the human advisors on the other, and you end up being this B2B solution to those advisors. But at the end of the day, you need to somehow market your solution to the consumers at the same time. So what I'm curious about is, are you going to be in charge of that marketing? Are you relying on your advisors to market your products? And do you think that they can do it in a way that really competes with a direct-to-consumer company that's going straight to the consumers to begin with their marketing to pull people over? You know, can you stop that bleed quick enough?
Great. So I'll just go in order. So the first question about existing competitors and tools in-house. Right now, particularly the small and medium-sized investment advisors that we're going after, the $100 to $500 million shops, really have to cobble together a bunch of different solutions. It's a crappy experience for them, and it's also a crappy experience for their clients because they have multiple logins, they're interacting with multiple technologies. And it also doesn't solve the problem that we're actually addressing, which is how do I manage these clients cost effectively and at scale? We are not only a technology provider, we're a registered investment advisor. We serve as a sub-advisor on the accounts, take discretion, and really run all of the operational aspects.
Have you done any kind of a case study then that compares that with not that, so that you can actually sort of contrast what kind of value you create for the end user and for the advisor?
So we're developing case studies certainly as we start to work with our first firms, but the values are twofold. One, the time saved with managing lower value clients.
I got it. I just think you should quantify that. It'd be very powerful for
Sure.
you. It would really be, I think, part of the biggest selling feature of the whole program.
Great. So I'll come to the second question about whether the market is already there. The answer simply is no. Again, there are some providers of technology throughout the system. None of them do what we do, and again, it's a very fragmented experience for both advisor and client. There was a question about whether we're going after the big established firms or a land and expand. We're certainly speaking with both. Our focus right now is on the $100 to $500 million firms. They have a significant value that they can manage through the platform. They tend to be 2-3 person shops. They tend to be a little bit younger and more easily adopting the technology solution that we're going after. And that's Ritholtz Wealth Management is a perfect example of that. But we are still talking with over a dozen $1 billion plus firms, along with some of the wirehouses and larger banks. I think as we continue to develop sophistication into our platform and product, some of those conversations will become potentially more fruitful. How does it function from a personal touch perspective? It's a fantastic question. We want to build flexibility into the platform to allow the advisor to determine what kind of engagement model he wants with the client. So if he wants to be completely hands-off, it is designed to be entirely client-driven. But we're also developing through the advisor login the abilities to set thresholds. So I'll give you an example. Someone changes the risk profile on his plan, or someone tries to withdraw $10,000 from his plan. We're giving the advisor the ability to approve or cancel that transaction within a small window of time, not necessarily to give the advisor control, but to give him the ability to interact with the client and say, hey, why are you doing this? Have you thought about it? Are you doing it for the right reasons? You need a new car? Great, no problem. You're panicking because the markets are going down. Let's have a conversation about that. And then the final question was about market solution. to customers, marketing. Really the core of the issue that we're solving for RIAs is helping them manage a lower value of clients that are already on the books. So it's about migration of existing clients as well as acquiring new ones.
All right, cool, great.
We're overdrawn.
Thank you, Tom. Well, this way, before we get to bread and butter wine and a backpack. Okay. Brad? Chris? Okay. You guys are ahead of the game. This whistle.
Hey, my name is Brad Serafin. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Curious Minds Technology Incubator in West Hollywood. Some of the recent graduates of Curious Minds, well, not so recent, Telesign just raised 50 million Series B. Ringadoc and Brand Reporter were both recently acquired, and Showkit made it to the final stages of TechCrunch Disrupt in New York back in March. Curious Minds, Chris and I both work there. We have co-founded a company called Whistle. Chris is going to tell you a little bit about our product.
Yeah. So currently there is a, next slide please. So currently there's a problem for consumers and customers, and that problem is that smartphone messaging is blowing up, it's on the rise, but businesses have remained overly reliant on voice calls and in-person communication, and many customers now prefer to remain disconnected rather than interact with businesses directly. Next slide, please. So the problem for businesses translates to this growing trend that we've uncovered of disengaged customers. These are the customers who would much rather avoid confrontation and interaction and are much more comfortable voicing themselves initially online. And management complains, endlessly saying, we were never given a chance to right the wrong prior to this online review. Next slide, please. So currently there are over 1 billion people talking on all these mobile messaging applications around the world. And our question is, why aren't businesses? This is a trend that's set to double by 2017, and mobile messaging transfers are set to go up to 30 trillion messages in 2017. Next slide, please. So what do? Whistle actually bridges this gap. We provide the tool and we allow customers to reach out to businesses via these popular messaging applications and SMS technology, SMS text messaging. The best way to think of it is a customer service tool in between the telephone and email communication. Next slide, please. So how do we do it? We issue businesses a new 10-digit phone number. Consumers can continue their regular text messaging behavior and messaging behavior. All staff can easily manage and respond to all messages. Messages and history is saved. That allows for staff accountability, and it allows for personalized service. You can also manage internal communications through our service. Next slide, please. This is an example of, this is actually our interface. You can easily manage all messages on your left sidebar. Simple chat interface and guest information and customer information on the right. We also have a compose message feature, which allows businesses to reach out and initiate conversation instead of waiting for customers to message in. Next slide, please. So we've had a lot of traction. We kind of just went through finding the problem and solution, and we've already have 5 active contracts with major hotels in this past month. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. You want to start us off, Ethan?
Sure. So it seems like one of the big issues any call center would be having is sort of throughput, how many consumers they can actually get through. Have you guys done any research as sort of how this would compare, this SMS solution versus a, say, online chat or even a call-in, what the time looks like across those 3?
Sure. So we're definitely looking at short-term memory.
Just sort of coming at the basic proposition that that consumers prefer dealing in this disengaged way. Are there certain markets where you think that works better than others? Because just from my perspective, I can think of all the situations where that disengagement is actually problematic for me. So are there certain targets that you think are approaching where that actually works better?
Yeah, just following on that, like when we checked in here, they texted when the room was ready. And I thought that was very useful, very narrow. So I do think that there's, as you were talking, I was trying to think through which kinds of businesses and use cases would I want this interface, and it's actually a really small number, and it's very specific to moments in time. So I think that's zeroing in on what those are and not sort of trying to boil the ocean.
You don't want car dealers texting you?
I don't want the car dealer, but except if you partner with the other guy and I got my crazy offer in.
So why
you don't
wouldn't
hear.
why wouldn't one of the phone carriers just implement this as a feature if it looks at all appealing? It's certainly a revenue stream for them.
I like that you're starting with that vertical approach to with hotels specifically. I'm just curious why you picked hotels and why not any other particular vertical.
Sure. So with call centers, it's definitely something we're looking at, especially as a means to distribute the product. Doing biz dev with large call centers. Our whole process is very lean and follows this lean methodology where we're out there talking to customers, understanding where customers' needs are, where customers' wants are, where customers' pain points are. As we've signed up our first 5 clients, we're really sort of hyper-focused on looking at that data and responding to the data and building out features that would take care of these customers. So it's really something that they're coming to us for and saying, we want this, we love your solution. So this whole process isn't about building and then seeing what happens. It's about dealing with the customers and really learning and understanding them and then building accordingly to what that market demands. So that was the first question. What else do we got here? In terms of verticals, we love hotels. It's where we started. It's where we're investigating. We've talked to over 100 hotel general managers. Most of the hotels here in LA, we've sat down and had conversations with those general managers, just picked their brains, learned everything about the hotel industry. So I wouldn't say we're domain experts because we don't come from the hotel industry, but we've talked to over 100 hotel managers. That gives us a great insight. We're also looking at malls. We want to talk to the Grove. We want to talk to Westgate. We want to talk to call centers. So it's kind of incremental and really let the learning and that lean methodology market research of identifying a problem and letting our customers help us shape that solution that's going to drive this forward. But I think that one slide that had all those mobile messaging apps, that's the larger opportunity. That's what we really want to capture. But we're not going to rush into it. We're going to let the data dictate where we take this product.
And as far as why we're starting with hotels, I mean, it was just the perfect use case to begin with, especially because hotels are staffed 24 hours a day, whereas if you were to use this solution for your business for personalized service, let's say, you're not necessarily going to be available to monitor the system and respond 24 hours a day. So we want to start off with the best case scenario, kind of shape the project from there, and then be more willing to introduce ourselves into new markets and customize it from there.
Yeah, sure. In terms of the large phone carriers, that's a potential target for acquisition. We could potentially market ourselves to those. We want to create the best user experience. We want to create the best product. We want to let the data take us to that. And if that is serendipitously what happens, certainly we would be open to it. I think
Are there any intellectual property barriers?
That's something that we're just starting to explore with, fortunately being a part of Curious Minds, we have a team of people that work with the IP. So, we're starting to look at what we could potentially do in this space. There's probably 3 or 4 competitors that do similar things to us, but no one is the market leader. There's no 800-pound gorilla here. So I think, with our resources, with our background, with our technical expertise, we're going to have a fighting chance to really establish ourselves as the brand that provides this type of link between all the people that are texting and chatting and the businesses that want to connect with them.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We're going about this way before we get you some stuff. Bread and butter wine in the backpacks. All right, so that brings us to a close of the first round. Big round of applause for the judges. Guys, if you would be so kind as to step off to my left, the beautiful Corey will give you a bottle of bread and butter wine. I don't think you get a backpack.
Good job.